The hearing room was already in session when Lucas Donovan made his position clear. 24 years old, son of Richard Donovan, the real estate developer whose name appeared on half the buildings downtown, Lucas leaned back in his chair and said it plainly. "Can we make this fast? My dad's meeting the mayor." Judge Frank Caprio looked up from the file. He didn't raise his voice. He never needed to. "Mr. Donovan, this is a courtroom, not a concierge desk." Lucas shrugged. Defense counsel Elliot Vance touched his client's arm, signaling him to stay quiet. But the damage was already done. The tone was set. And everyone in that room knew this wasn't going to be quick. If you still believe respect belongs in court, hit subscribe. Because what happened next showed exactly why Judge Caprio's courtroom became legendary. Clerk Ms. Reyes called the case into the record. Case number 2025-TR-09211. State of Rhode Island versus Lucas James Donovan. 4 charges: reckless driving through a school zone, destruction of citation, failure to appear on 2 summons, and contempt of court. Elliot Vance stood. "Your Honor, my client is prepared to settle this matter financially today. We'd like to expedite resolution." Judge Caprio set down his pen. "Mr. Vance, this court is not a payment portal. We're here to establish facts, not negotiate convenience. Wealth funds projects. It doesn't fund privilege." The clerk continued. 10 months prior, Mr. Donovan received an advisory for parking obstruction in a hospital loading zone. Citation was voided after completion of an online traffic course. Completion time, 43 minutes. Average completion time, 3 hours. Lucas muttered something under his breath. His attorney closed his eyes. Judge Caprio asked Lucas to explain the incident. Lucas shifted in his seat, arms crossed. "It was a tiny mistake, Your Honor. I was late for a meeting. No one got hurt." The judge opened another file. "Ms. Reyes, please read the statement from Martha Ellis." The clerk cleared her throat. Statement dated March 14th, 8:15 a.m. "I was escorting 6 children across Lloyd Avenue when a black BMW accelerated through the crosswalk. I raised my stop sign. The driver did not slow. The children froze at the curb. If they had stepped forward 1 second earlier, we would be planning funerals." The room went silent. Lucas looked at his phone. His attorney took it from him. Judge Caprio spoke slowly. "Mr. Donovan, a tiny mistake is forgetting your wallet." This was a choice. Safety isn't a suggestion. It's infrastructure. Officer Paul Denton took the stand. He'd been with the traffic division for 16 years. He pulled up his report on the tablet provided by the court. March 14th, 7:58 a.m. "I was stationed at Lloyd and Waterman monitoring school zone compliance. Electronic speed sign active, flashing 25 miles per hour. Crossing guard on duty. Children present. At 07:58, I observed a black BMW, license plate registered to Donovan Holdings LLC, traveling approximately 48 miles per hour. The vehicle approached the active crosswalk without reducing speed. The crossing guard signaled stop. The vehicle swerved around her, missing the crosswalk by less than 3 feet. At 0801, the vehicle parked illegally in a handicap loading zone near the school entrance. I approached to issue a citation. The driver exited and walked toward the school office. At 0803, I completed the citation and placed it on the windshield. The driver returned, saw the citation, tore it into pieces, and dropped it on the pavement. Judge Caprio leaned forward. "What did he say to you, officer?" Officer Denton looked at his notes. "Do you know who my father is?" "And your response?" "I informed him that wasn't relevant to the violation." "What did he say next?" Officer Denton paused. He said, "We own half these buildings. You write tickets for us." Judge Caprio made a note. "Fame doesn't qualify as a license, Mr. Donovan." The timestamp burned into the record, 0804 a.m. Ms. Reyes stood. "Your Honor, I have 3 communications entered into evidence as Exhibits C, D, and E. Go ahead. Exhibit C, Voicemail received at 09:47 a.m., same day. Caller identified as Jennifer Parrish, Community Relations Director, Donovan Holdings. Message reads, "Good morning. We're reaching out regarding citation 2025 TR 09211. Our office would like to discuss a quiet resolution. Mr. Donovan's family has been a long-time supporter of municipal projects. We're confident we can find a mutually beneficial path forward." Judge Caprio's expression didn't change. Continue. Exhibit D. Email received at 10:23 a.m., same sender. Subject line, Partnership Opportunity, Traffic Safety Initiative. Body text. Dear City Officials, Donovan Holdings is prepared to fund a new pedestrian safety campaign in conjunction with resolving pending citation matters. We believe collaboration benefits everyone. Lucas looked at his attorney. His attorney looked at the floor. Exhibit E. Second voicemail, 11:15 a.m. Same caller. Hi again. Just following up. We'd really appreciate the opportunity to resolve this before it becomes complicated. Mr. Donovan Sr. is happy to speak directly with anyone necessary. Judge Caprio set down his pen. Mr. Vance, did you authorize these communications? Elliot Vance stood. No, Your Honor. I was not consulted. Mr. Donovan, did you ask your family's company to intervene? Lucas hesitated. I might have mentioned it. The judge nodded slowly. Influence is acceptable in philanthropy, not in procedure. Timeline established. 0801 citation issued. 0947 first intervention attempt. 47 minutes. If you believe donations should never buy leniency, subscribe. Because what comes next proves why sunlight matters. Ms. Reyes dialed the court phone. The speaker crackled. Martha Ellis, school crossing guard for 11 years, joined by phone. Judge Caprio spoke gently. Ms. Ellis, thank you for calling in. Can you describe what you saw that morning? Her voice shook slightly. I've done this job for over a decade, Your Honor. I know every driver's face. I know who slows down and who doesn't. That morning I had 6 children ready to cross. The light was red. My sign was up. That car didn't even tap the brakes. What went through your mind? I thought I was about to watch children die. I stepped further into the lane. I yelled. The car swerved. The kids were crying. One little girl asked me if the man was going to come back. Judge Caprio closed his eyes for a moment. Thank you, Ms. Ellis. We'll make sure this doesn't happen again. Every crosswalk is a promise. Break it, and someone pays. Judge Caprio returned his attention to Lucas. Mr. Donovan, you've heard the officer's testimony. You've heard Ms. Ellis's account. You've heard the communications your family made on your behalf. What do you have to say? Lucas stood. His attorney tried to pull him back down. He stayed standing. You want to know what I have to say? My family pays more in taxes than most people make in a lifetime. We fund libraries. We fund parks. We donate to police fundraisers. My father built half this city. So yeah, I was speeding. Yeah, I tore up a ticket. But let's be honest here. Mr. Donovan, sit down. No. You want accountability? Fine. My family has accountability. We account for millions in this city's budget. We account for jobs. We account for infrastructure. So before you lecture me about a school zone, maybe remember who keeps the lights on. Judge Caprio didn't move. Mr. Donovan, one more word and you'll be held in contempt. Lucas leaned forward. I own you. 5 seconds. 7, 10, 12. Those 12 seconds were the sound of power meeting principle. Officer Denton stood straighter. Ms. Reyes's pen hovered over the page. Elliot Vance buried his face in his hands. Judge Caprio finally spoke. You own nothing here but your conduct. Privilege is a mirror. It shows you what you avoid. Judge Caprio reviewed the evidence aloud. Dash cam video, 48 in a 25. Body cam audio. Destruction of citation and verbal contempt. 2 certified summons confirmations, both ignored. 3 communications from Donovan Holdings attempting to influence outcome. Prior advisory on record. Mr. Donovan, I find you liable on all counts. Base fine, $900. $400 stayed pending completion of the following restorative path. 1. Apology letters to Officer Denton and Martha Ellis. Handwritten, specific. Submitted within 14 days. 2. 150 hours community service. 75 hours with the Traffic Safety Coalition. 75 hours with the Accident Prevention Program. 3. Record a public service announcement on reckless driving and privilege. Script subject to court approval. Broadcast in all Providence public schools. 4. Complete the civic ethics module through the Municipal Accountability Office. Certificate of completion required. 5. Submit a 1,000-word reflection essay titled Power versus Responsibility, due in 90 days. Failure to complete any portion will reinstate the stayed fine and add 30 days probation. Judge Caprio paused. Additionally, I am entering the following policy recommendations into the official court record. First, creation of a public donor influence log. Any attempt by a private entity to contact municipal officials regarding pending cases must be disclosed within 24 hours. Second, municipal firewall for corporate contacts. All case-related communications must go through official legal counsel only. Third, school zone camera review panel. Independent civilian oversight for all traffic citations involving children. Fourth, offender education PSA initiative. Use restitution to fund public safety campaigns. Fifth, citizen report hotline, anonymous line for reporting pressure or influence attempts. Judge Caprio looked at Lucas. Mercy isn't a discount. It's a lesson priced in time. Should every reckless driving case include community service? Tell us in the comments below. The ledger was clear. Letters due, April 1st. Service hours completion, July 15th. PSA recording, June 1st. Essay submission, June 30th. Ethics module, May 15th. Lucas began his community service on March 28th. The Traffic Safety Coalition assigned him to morning school zone monitoring. He stood beside Officer Denton, watching cars slow down, watching children cross safely, watching the infrastructure he'd ignored suddenly matter. April 5th. First apology letter submitted. Rejected. Too generic. Rewrite required. April 14th. Second attempt. Officer Denton read it and nodded. He showed up, the officer said later. Every shift. On time. Quiet. Paying attention. May 2nd. Lucas moved to the Accident Prevention Program. He met families whose lives were destroyed by reckless drivers. He heard a mother describe the moment she learned her son wouldn't walk again. He listened to a father explain how a speeding car turned a school drop-off into a funeral. May 20th. Martha Ellis sent an email to the court. Subject: Update on Mr. Donovan. Body: He came to the school yesterday. He asked to meet the children he almost hit. He didn't make excuses. He didn't perform. He remembered their names. June 8th. First PSA recording. Rejected. Tone felt rehearsed, defensive. Lucas recorded it again. June 15th. Second PSA recording. Approved. It aired in 17 Providence schools. Script excerpt. I thought my last name meant I could ignore consequences. I was wrong. Speed limits aren't suggestions. They're the difference between a close call and a tragedy. June 27th. Civic ethics module completed. Certificate submitted. June 30th. Reflection essay submitted. Excerpt read into the record at the return hearing. Wealth built my walls. Responsibility broke them. When I said I own you, I really meant I feared answering to you. I thought power was about control. I learned it's about accountability. Every 300 words of Lucas's journey was marked by a dated log entry. No drama, just documentation. Progress measured in hours, pages, and changed behavior. August 5th. Lucas stood before Judge Caprio again. No attorney this time. Just him, a folder of completion certificates, and the same courtroom where he'd said 3 words that changed everything. Judge Caprio reviewed the file. Officer Denton confirms 150 hours completed. Letters accepted by both parties. PSA broadcast in all required schools. Ethics module passed with distinction. Essay submitted and reviewed. He looked at Lucas. Read us the final paragraph. Lucas opened the folder. His hands shook slightly. I came into this court believing my family's contributions gave me immunity. I left understanding that contribution without character is just transaction. My father built buildings. I need to build integrity. That starts with understanding that authority is not for sale. It is for service. Judge Caprio was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. Mr. Donovan, I am remitting $200 of the stayed fine. The remaining $200 is waived upon continued compliance for 6 months. He folded his hands. You came here with a last name that opened doors. You're leaving with a lesson that will define you. Power without discipline is danger. Influence without ethics is corruption. Privilege without responsibility is poison. If you still believe justice should be earned, not bought, hit subscribe. Lucas nodded. Thank you, Your Honor. The gavel fell softly. Case closed. By October, Providence had implemented 4 of Judge Caprio's 5 policy recommendations. The donor influence log went public in September. 3 attempts to pressure officials in separate cases were documented and dismissed. Transparency became protocol. The school's own camera review panel convened for the first time in November. Civilian members included teachers, parents, and crossing guards. Not a single appeal succeeded when the footage was clear. The Municipal Accountability Office reported that the Civic Ethics module was expanded to include all first-time offenders in cases involving public safety. Completion rate, 91%. The Offender Education PSA initiative grew beyond traffic violations. Lucas's recording was joined by 12 others. School administrators reported that students asked better questions about consequences, choices, and accountability. Accident rates in Providence school zones dropped by 18% within 6 months. Not because of heavier fines, because of visibility, education, and the understanding that privilege stops where safety begins. Lucas Donovan completed his probation without incident. He enrolled in a public administration program at Rhode Island College. He told a reporter later, off the record, that he still remembered the 12 seconds of silence after he said, "I own you." He said those seconds taught him more than 4 years of private school ever did. Officer Denton returned to his post at Lloyd and Waterman. He still knew every crossing guard by name. He still watched every car with the same attention. But now, when drivers slowed down, he wondered if they'd seen the PSA, if they'd heard about the case, if they understood that someone was watching, someone cared, and someone would hold them accountable. Martha Ellis kept her job for 2 more years before retiring. At her farewell ceremony, she mentioned the morning she thought she'd watch children die. She said she was grateful they lived, grateful they learned that adults could change, grateful that one courtroom in Providence decided consequences mattered more than last names. Judge Frank Caprio continued presiding with the same measured calm he'd shown for decades. He never mentioned the case in interviews. He didn't need to. The transcript spoke for itself. The reforms spoke louder. He came in with a last name and left with a lesson. Authority is not for sale. It is for service. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting.